Hello everyone, welcome back to a new YouTube cast. Today we're going to be having in the top left spawning as the red Terran player INnoVation, and in the bottom right spawning as the blue Zerg it's going to be AGO's Elazer, or AGO Elazer. So opening up with a pool first, afraid of any kind of proxy Rexes that INnoVation might throw at him. If INnoVation just opening up a very standard way. Now, Elazer is one of those players that likes to play a little bit tricky if you compare him to someone like perhaps a Serral or Raynor. He is just a slightly lower level than them, but what he lacks in general mechanical skill, I think he makes up for a little bit in those tricks, in those interesting openings, those weird strategies that he often shows in the early game. So let's have a look if we're going to see something like that this time around, or if he's just going to try the standard way against the macro monster that of course is INnoVation. He's been showing extremely powerful TVZ, just extremely good shape lately in general, not just his TVZ, but his TVP has been absolutely masterful, destroying Zest trio twice in a row in the past couple of weeks now, I believe both times in Oldie League. Might have been a different tournament as well, but absolutely in fantastic shape. See the command center go down, and here comes that SCV scout. Now this SCV scout of course has two goals really. First of all, scout while the timing is on that hatchery, which is a little bit late this time as it was a pool first. Try to see if there's any kind of roach push happening, or see what's going on over here. Now he sees the hatchery timing, and if it would have been a hatch first, he might have been going for like a bunker block or an eBay block on the potential third base of Elazer. But not the case this time, so we'll head home. Not aware of course that there is a roach warren on the way, so we'll still need to deal with that. Reaper stays at home to deal with any potential Ling run bys. First two Lings are making their way across the map as the Marine chases away this Overlord. Now first four roaches are coming out right now. Oi, 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 oi. INnoVation really isn't that ready at all. He is not aware that there are roaches. He assumes it's just a regular pool first with 2 to 4, maybe 6 Lings on a good day. But instead it's going to be a 4 roach rush. Now, ideally, I think you want maybe a Marauder against this, or you want to get some type of Cyclone maybe. I'm not entirely sure what the correct response is versus roaches this early. The right response surely isn't losing the Reaper, so INnoVation managed to keep that alive. Let's see what he does. Gets a tech lab on the factory. Might actually even go for a tank. I was thinking Cyclone, but tank is also of course possible. He doesn't quite know how committed this is. We'll figure that out once he sees this hatchery. So very important, he gets the scout. They should not lose this Reaper. That's very important. Ooh, 2 Lings almost get it. Ravager continues his march forward as this CC lifts up. It's going to be a Cyclone indeed from INnoVation. So instead of seeing the standard swap with the factory and the barracks to go into Hellion production, instead we're seeing Marines and a Cyclone. The Marines are a little bit stuck by it. Oh no. Poor Inno. Saves the Marines. What a guy. There is high ground vision of course here with that Overlord. Overlord will move back after spotting that there is most likely a Cyclone on the way. It's like, I don't want to lose my Overlord for free. Let me just move that bad boy back. Cyclone tries to push out, and Elazer will just be going into a macro game from here. He is down in workers a bit. Had to make a double extractor trick as he was slightly supply blocked as well. I mean, this Overlord should still just die once high ground vision becomes available with that medevac, right? INnoVation isn't crazy. It's like, alright, I know where you are. Overlord gets killed. One more Overlord on the way. No supply block for Elazer yet though, as INnoVation moves out with a 7 Marine drop. There's just a single Cyclone for defense. Second Cyclone will join him, and we will be heading most likely into to regular bio play, probably with tank, as a barracks should go down here relatively quickly. There we go. So second barracks goes down as Stim starts. Third CC on the high ground, not on the low ground. That is an interesting detail. 2 Cyclones join up with this little party as well. Another kind of supply block here for Elazer. That's the second supply block already this game. It's getting a little bit painful. 2 Cyclones moving forward, trying to lock onto a Queen. Will not get it. 8 Marines in the main base. Well, 7 Marines and a Reaper. A little party here. We'll be able to target down the Queen. No, also don't get it. We'll lose a Marine. So Elazer getting rewarded for his defensive efforts. Queens will be able to push this away as well. So good defense here so far by Elazer. But this is the real push, of course. 2 Cyclones once again. Now actually will be able to get a Queen. There's a lot of links here though, and there's only a single medevac for evacuation purposes, so INnoVation should be a little bit careful with moving on creep. There really is a lot of links, and if they would be fighting right now, I'd be a little bit afraid for INnoVation's life, or well, the life of the Cyclones at least. Yep, there goes the first Cyclone. Second Cyclone will most likely fall as well. There is not enough space in the Cyclone as of now, or in this medevac as of now. But maybe after losing a couple of Marines, yeah. Just loses a couple of Marines so he can pick up his Cyclone, which is a more expensive unit. But the question, of course, is he actually ready for a counterattack? There's no tank. Oh, there is a tank. Not sieged up yet. There's no depot here either, so if Elazer decides to move up, his tank might fall, but there is enough firepower for now for Elazer. Still has a couple of links. We'll be able to pick up 2 depots for, well, it's not quite free as he lost a bunch of links, but actually put himself into a pretty nice position here. Forces out another bunker, kills 2 depots. Not supply blocking INnoVation, by the way. INnoVation lost enough army that this doesn't supply block him, and Elazer's position looking pretty healthy. And this is what I was talking about, just one of those weird build orders where I'm not even sure if it did enough damage, but it did enough mental damage that he made Inno so afraid to build workers, to play his standard build order, that it feels like Elazer's actually in a pretty okay position. And sure, his upgrades are a little bit behind, but his creep spread is absolutely fantastic. His work account is looking very healthy. His fort base timing is good, especially if you compare it to how late that third of INnoVation is over here. I mean, we're only on 3 racks still. There is a tank on the way, but Elazer is just going to be transitioning into these 1-1 upgrades for melee and transitioning out of the roaches, basically. Like, he'll still keep a couple of Ravagers alive. Ooh. Some attempted piles on that medevac, of course, won't work. INnoVation a little bit too good for that. That might have worked in 2016, but not anymore, my friend. Terrans have gotten so used to it. And you even get a little notification on the mini-map when you are being biled before they hit. Our forces are under attack. Oh. Stim should be done at this point already, as well as combat shield. 1-1 is about to finish as well, and now we get the dropping INnoVation, and this is the scary part here for Elazer, where actually, this is actually pretty cool what he's been doing. I think he is faking a fort base here. So INnoVation will try to put pressure onto this base, while Elazer already has a fort base up and running. Hatchery, macro hatch going down as well on the main base. So actually, even though this base got cancelled, INnoVation might be pretty happy about it, right? It's like, this is good. You know, I'm getting a base for free. But Elazer's already mining from his fort with a lot of workers. 77 workers. 1-1 is about to finish up. We have 3-pronged aggression right now from INnoVation. There's this little squad of 2 medevacs. There's this squad of 1 medevac. And then there's over here still something happening. But Elazer doing a fine job dealing with that. This base does end up staying alive. INnoVation right now dropping on top of this fort base. Loses a lot of Marines actually. A little bit of a mistake, because this really alleviates the pressure that was on Elazer for a while here. I mean, lost 2 Marines over here, lost 6 Marines over here. Like, this is not really a threat anymore. The forward push is not there anymore. Is this double factory? There's so many tanks. I think it's your single factory, right? Second factory on the way, maybe? Am I missing something? Oh, here's the second factory, but that's going to be for mines and drilling claws. So yeah, just very consistent tank production, man. That's a lot of tanks already. The problem is the creep is so good that it's going to take years for INnoVation to move across. The work account's been looking healthy for so long. Baling Burrow is on the way, as well as a hive. So Elazer not sitting still, will be able to start his adrenal glands upgrades and the 3-3 if those 2-2 finish somewhere in the future. Now there's 2 more medevac drops on the way, but of course Elazer's map vision is absolutely beautiful. Sees absolutely everything that's happening on the map, and it's been very difficult for INnoVation even to kill creep tumors, let alone do any real damage. Elazer's always ready for every single drop that INnoVation is doing. Finally, we have a couple of creep tumors getting cleared, but Queen is like, alright, you want to clear some creep tumors? Guess what, baby? I'm back here already. I can put them down once again, and it's going to cost you a couple of Marines, and it's only going to cost me energy. Now, this is the first time I actually see some damage being done here by INnoVation, even if it's only 2 drones. I mean, 2 drones is more than 0. We'll keep dropping into the main base. Ultralisk Cavern being targeted, perhaps. No, we'll be going for the Queens once again, but this is a drop that does get some damage, but will probably fall once again in the end if Elazer just splits his force in two. I'm not sure why he keeps chasing with everything. Yeah, okay, Marines do end up dying. There's still 5 in the main. Trying to do some damage. There's a run by at this forward base. Burrow being used as well. A lot of creep getting cleared at the same time. So 16 workers going down. Will have been rebuilt, of course. Actually, Elazer going to a higher worker count than he was before the dropping started. We're going up to 89 workers. But really the big play here was clearing all this creep. See how much has been done during all of that. By just this little force of, what is it, 10, 12 Marines will be trying to head into this fort base as well. I don't think we'll be able to do too much over here. So another pickup here by INnoVation. S22 and Adrenal do complete. Birdling got cleared up. We have a 4 mine drop with those drilling claws heading out across the map. And now that there's a lot less creep, there's a lot less vision as well for Elazer. So reaction time needs to be a little bit faster now. He does manage to spot this. Oof, that's very close. And this is a very, very suspect movement here. Elazer was suspecting something, but not quite quick enough. We'll end up losing a lot of workers here, I believe. Only 7 for 4 mines. That's not the worst of trades. Of course, Zerg can always immediately rebuild these with the larvae they have. And there's a lot of larvae as well, I believe. There's only 4 larvae, but there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hatcheries on the map. There's no queen on this hatchery, so no injects there. Shitness plating about to be done. Only 3-3 starting only now. So has been waiting a long time with that. There's 2 attacks happening at the same time by Elazer. Oh, this baneling hit might get nasty. Big mine hit on those banelings, but the banelings are still rolling in. We'll be able to clear a lot of these SCVs. Might even be able to actually clear this command center here. Yes, Ultras will be able to have more DPS than the SCVs have in repair power, and a lot of damage being done here by Elazer. 10 workers do go down. Don't forget, INnoVation's only been on 4 bases for very shortly, and I mean, it doesn't really look like that fort base is there to survive for a long time. So this base will need to be used as a fort base right now. There's not that many command centers at all. Usually at this point you see Terran with lots of command centers instantly being able to replace whenever a planetary goes down. INnoVation is like, alright, you used a lot of banelings there, you used a lot of ultras. I still have a big army. Good luck defending this, buddy. Elazer does have a big link force still in the middle. Needs to start thinking about setting up flanks. Just engaging into this from one way is not going to be the play for sure. We have a couple of Vipers being pulled into the action as well. This 5th base needs to survive here for Elazer as more run-bys are being set up. One trying to cut off reinforcement, but the big fight here is happening right now. A couple of good blinding clouds, Biles raining down on his own ultras at this moment, and ultras are actually cleaning up very, very well here. I'm surprised how well this fight went, as it was only from one direction, no real flanks. Now, of course, there was a run-by happening here. There was a run-by happening over here. Question mark by INnoVation. Question mark by me as well. How did that fight go so well for Elazer? As he's now just pushing forward. Zerg Imba. GG. As Elazer takes game number 1 in this best of 5. Welcome to game number 2. Once again, the top left spawning as the red Terran is going to be INnoVation. In the bottom right, the man that's up 1-0. It's going to be Elazer, who's bantering a little bit, saying, just build the buildings at home, please. And we're all gonna be fine. Look at the compliments. INnoVation saying, you good. Which is the closest thing you're going to get. That's a big compliment from a Terran. First they'll insult your race. And then they might even no ping me win. Of course, it was played on the American server, so a little bit of ping there. A little banter between the boys. It's fantastic to see. At the highest level, still possible. Still lots of time to type. Once again, opening up with a pool first. Elazer is very afraid of those proxy hatches. First Overlord flying across the map. Second Overlord will be used defensively to spot any kind of incoming SCVs in case it is a proxy barracks. Only 2 drones mining in that first gas. Single pair of Ling being built. So we see the SCV once again moving across the map. This SCV really is just for spotting stuff. Exact same build order actually by Elazer. Once again, that fast Roadhorn. So a big fan of this opener. Isn't going to be too happy to see the SCV. Maybe INnoVation this time will head into the main, or maybe he once again won't care. Sees the 2 links, is like, all right, I know what time it is. It's time to head back home with my SCV. It's time to prepare for whatever it is you're gonna do. Then we see the factory coming down. After this, we'll see the reactor starting on this barracks. And the Reaper just staying at home for now. Elazer doing a little bit of a scouting mission, making sure there is a Marine coming out. We'll be heading back to the high ground over here with his OLR. This ugly guy. Can see so far. To be fair, he has 8 eyes or something like that. Look at this. There's 4 on this side. Must be 4 on the other side as well, which I sadly can't see at the moment. Now, Reaper is moving around trying to find these initial links that Elazer had. Won't be happening. Absolutely won't be happening. So, most likely, once again, we're going to see him start with... Ooh, actually, it's going to be a swap this time. So he will be swapping. Now, once he sees the roaches, I think the swap will go back once again. Oh, actually, he's going to stick with it. Bunker will start. Hellions start producing as well. Tech Lab being built. Could be for Banshee, could be for Marauder. Maybe he realized last game that the Cyclone opener wasn't quite the start that he wanted. And instead, he will be heading into a more Hellion-focused defense this time around. Curious to see how that will work out for him. Elazer with the 3rd base. So, really just opening with a 3 roach rush. Yeah, Marauder this time. Okay. Bunker will end up finishing. There's 2 Hellions. So, after he manages to... Wait, did he cancel the Marauder? He canceled the Marauder, lifted. So maybe the Marauder is a safety play in case there's like 7 roaches. And if he sees only 3, he's like, okay, that's fine. I can just continue my plan as usual, except with a bunker. So, this time INnoVation's response is a lot... You could say greedier or more economically focused. I don't think it's greedy because he doesn't really seem to... be putting himself in any kind of risk, which means it's just a better response most likely. He has more eco, he keeps more map control with those Hellions. This forces out more units out of Elazer as well, who finishes his speed up, but needs something to deal with these Hellions. Now 3 roaches are there. I'm not a big fan of this run by here, INnoVation. There is a lot of links out on the map. Good micro though with those Hellions. We'll be able to take 4 drones down already. 1 more does end up falling. Got just more 4 Hellions for 6 drones. Meanwhile, on the other hand, we have a lot of links on the other side of the map doing some damage as well. So 4 Hellions for 6 drones and 3 links for 3 SCVs. So I think overall this was a very worthwhile trade here for Elazer, because INnoVation has to be a little bit afraid right now, keeping his Banshee at home. It's like, what if another roach push as a follow-up is happening? And Elazer does have some kind of plans like that. So Banshee staying home for now, will be able to get this Overlord as a result of that, but ideally Banshees want to be doing some damage. We see no spores being built whatsoever yet. Elazer realizing the Banshee is staying home. I mean, once this moves out, he will need spores, right? Yeah, spore will be going down in that natural base right now. Couple of links on the map. Scouts the 2nd Banshee path as well. 3rd CC got spotted out. 7 drones are on the way. No spore at this 3rd base. Elazer, man. You greedy, greedy man. How many queens is there? 4 queens. Banshees are, well, assembling in the middle of the map. Not keeping that 1.5 meter distance. And these guys have no clue. Spore, the only base where a spore is actually done. INnoVation goes in. Imagine if it just flies into the 3rd. Kills the whole mineral line. Absolutely risky play by Elazer, but paying off. 3 queens being found. We'll be able to push back these Banshees though. Once the Overseer hits. So a little bit of a risky play there with only the single spore. There's a couple of Hellions here. I actually can't believe that Elazer gambled the correct base. Now, Hellions are coming in. Links are kind of in position, but loses 3 drones immediately already. Can't go ahead and lose these Hellions though. These are the only things really providing him any kind of map control. Banshee's diving in through the side. 1 Banshee shows itself out of energy here. Elazer pretty slow with the response there. Extremely slow with the response. Ends up losing a lot of workers there. So Banshee's doing way more damage than I feel like they ever should have. Elazer losing 12 drones here. A couple, of course, still to those Hellions with that free shot. I think he got 3 or maybe 4, but a lot of that were those 2 Banshees. 1 Banshee does end up falling. It's always nice to keep those Banshees alive. You can really control one area of creep with that, especially in combination with Hellions. Sometimes you can attack the fort base a little bit, or at least scout for fort bases. You can kind of block paths. As long as there's no mutas, there's nothing really that can contest these Banshees if they're off of creep. So always nice to keep alive. This Banshee will end up staying alive for now. You have once again that Baning Nest at 1-1 transition out of those roaches. And INnoVation heading into a fast armory to get those 2-2 upgrades. And on a map like Nightshade, it's very common to see the Atrax plays off of something like 4 gas. So very often you see those gases never being taken by the Terran player, instead focusing on 8 barracks, big marine production, couple of tanks, and there's a lot of nice positions for those tanks on a map like this, where it's difficult for the Zerg to break, difficult to set up flanks, difficult to get creep on top of those ramps as well, of course. Let's see how INnoVation will be playing this. There's no run by setup for now. And INnoVation has very high supply count. Fourth base most likely will fall. There's no alternative yet set up for this fourth base. Armory is about to finish up. 2-2 should start any moment right now. So INnoVation doing a way better job this game than he did last game. Elazer also floating a lot of money. 1k in the bank right now. No dual larva to speak of whatsoever. Would love to just see a macro hatch being plumped down at this point. I mean, if you're floating this much in a game, I mean, you could be up 20 another supply or so. A couple of injects do end up finishing, and the energy goes down. Here we go with that macro hatch. Hydra then going down as well. Elazer realizing he needs something else to add into this army. Almost catches INnoVation out of position, but doesn't feel quite ready. Of course, fighting off of creep is never quite what you want. INnoVation moving forward quickly. A couple of biles raining down, won't be able to clear this army. Unsieging INnoVation will decide to go back as there is a single Banshee. That single Banshee from earlier with the 5 HP. Will get shot down by the Queen. Let me see its remains. Over here, a little bit of a run by happening on the other side of the map at the same time. 7 SCVs do end up falling. Tank shot helping out there for Elazer. So you see Elazer being surprisingly aggressive for his supply, right? He's down 20-30 supply, but it seems like he's the one in charge. They're kind of pretending to be strong, while he's actually rather weak. And INnoVation bought it there for a second, went back home, and I was like, wait a second. You actually have no army to speak of whatsoever. Now, INnoVation is not going for that 8 Rex play. We see a 4th command center, 2nd factory, 2-2 upgrades are getting close to being done. There's almost no creep whatsoever here for Elazer. Low ground being sieged right now. Good biles here. 3 biles, of course, managed to take down a siege tank. With that overseer vision, now this base is getting very, very low once again. I think this base might fall. Now, there is an alternative base being set up, but losing your 4th base twice like this, 10 minutes in game, no 4th base whatsoever yet, is not what you want, being the Zerg player. So INnoVation looking very strong in this game as sensor towers are coming up. Creep still being denied left, right and center. I wouldn't be surprised to see one more scan over here. 4 tanks sieging in the INnoVation, be careful. There is some vision on these tanks, of course, with the creep that Elazer has. Big run by being set up. Lots of Banes in this run by as well. But there's really not that much at home here. There is a couple of Banelings being morphed. Could this be for a flank? Oh, this is a burrow. This is a burrow play. Alright, alright. Will be a flank indeed, or at least an attempted flank. Now, there is still a decent force over here. There's a couple of tanks at home as well, or a single tank at home. So INnoVation can't rally to his army right now, as there's a secondary force between his army and his rally. Which means that if Elazer collapses onto this army from 2 sides, Inno might be in a little bit of trouble. Not a lot of his tanks are actually siege. Here comes the run by 2-2, not done yet. Elazer completely cleaning up this army, even though he has no creep to speak of whatsoever. 4th base only just now finishing, and Elazer is like, alright, this is my one chance. My 2-2 is about to finish, I'm just gonna go for it. I honestly wouldn't even mind it that much, but no. Elazer decides fighting off creep against someone with the micro of INnoVation might not be worth it. Now there is 2 Banelings burrowed here. Not able to get a hit off. Slightly off position. As INnoVation still in a good spot, obviously. 3-3 is on the way, Infestation Pit only now starting, so Hive is a long way away, which means 3-3 is an even longer way gone. Couple of scans going down, making sure there's no big flanks being set up. Oh, INnoVation moving very risky with these tanks so far forward every single time. Now, big run by heading into that 3rd base. 2 tanks are still set up here. Reinforcements and the tanks will be able to deal with this. Elazer going either for some kind of semi-base trade or one hell of a flank, but I believe this might actually be a base trade. Might trigger these mines in the when INnoVation decides to come back as well. Now, this is a very big run by here. This is more than just a run by, honestly. This is a full-fledged attack at this point. Big Scan barely misses these mines as well. There's 2 links burrowed next to this planetary. So Liv gets forced, 10 SCVs end up getting killed. But once again, forward base gets sniped for Elazer, who is on 3 bases. Hive is on the way, but he's going to be down 2 upgrades relatively soon. Now these 2 Baneling mines might get to see some action. Oh, we have a lot of Banes here as well. So a lot of Baneling mines splattered around the map. Good Baneling connections once again. 14 SCVs end up going down. I think these mines might actually kind of save Elazer as well. If he gets a good hit here, he might be able to thwart the counterattack. But these Banelings. Ooh. Oh, this could be big. No, it's not going to be big. Poor Elazer has been so close to getting fantastic hits. No siege up here for INnoVation, who gets jumped on once again by Elazer coming in from 2 sides as well, but doesn't quite have enough to deal with this. And INnoVation lost so many workers that he feels like he needs to make something work. Of course, he has those 3-3 upgrades. He's up in supply. Elazer once again patiently setting up a counterattack. Every single time INnoVation wants to be pushing, there's always some sort of counter, making sure that reinforcements can't just be rallied. And this is very deep on creep. Oh, these Banelings moving in such a poor way. Elazer, what are you doing? A couple of Hydras and a Ravager. Not quite managing to beat these Marines. Now 172 supply against 135. Now there is 69 workers, 7 workers end up going down. These 2 Hydras still putting in some work. Another run by being used here by Elazer. We'll be able to catch these reinforcements. Now this bottom base is being semi-evacuated. Pretending like there is no drones there. There is no base here. There's a couple of drones mining here. Another run by being set up with 4 Hydras and a couple of links. I don't think that's going to be enough, quite frankly. As INnoVation is pushing forward, he smells blood in the water. He knows, alright, now or never. And I have a feeling it might be now, as he's pushing in. 3rd base is falling. 4th base once again fell as well. Once this one falls, what do we really have left for Elazer? We still have this top base. Elazer is going to go for the final play. What I assume to be the final play is a surround from 2 sides. Down 2 upgrades into a siege position. And honestly, without creep. Majority of his of this fight won't really be on creep. Now he needs to hurry up as well, or INnoVation might be able to join with these reinforcements, and then Elazer is in a lot of trouble. Right now it's just regular trouble. Okay, a little more than regular trouble already. And here comes INnoVation with the reinforcements. Elazer needs to move quickly, but I don't think he's going to be in time, as here comes INnoVation reinforcing towards this army. Elazer trying to pick stuff up, but another run by happening as he sees the move out from INnoVation. Scan forward, 2 tanks being picked off, but off of creep with a Baneling count that is less than 30. It's going to be a rough task here for Elazer. Gets the command center, might be able to get the command center, but GG gets called and INnoVation wins the 2nd game. Alright, welcome back to game number 3. So we have something tricky here. A couple of SCVs are out on the map. Trying to get a couple of barracks down, and this looks to be a 3-rex. As we see 3 SCVs. Very elementary map there. 1 barracks for each SCV. And the 3rd barracks being proxied slightly behind. Now, this is to trick the opponent into believing that it might only be a 2-rex. I've alluded to this before. That if, imagine the Zerg scouts these barracks, right? He sees, oh, 2-rex. And there's a 3rd rex behind it. And the reaction to 3-rex is vastly different from a reaction to 2-rex. Against a 3-rex, you rather not be pulling any drones. You might even want to do some kind of roach defense. But against a 2-rex, you do want to be pulling drones to try and fight the bunkers. So just that extra marine really helps in fighting off a drone pool. And it can lead to extremely painful losses, and a lot of time even a straight up loss. Hi. Elazer spots the SCVs heading towards his natural. Now he sees only 2 SCVs. It's going to be important for INnoVation to not show that third SCV as well. Otherwise Elazer will know what's up. Roach Warren goes down. Elazer just making the blind call. He's like, alright, I don't care. If it's 2 Rex, 3 Rex, 4 Rex, I'm building roaches, my friend. Now 2 Lings are moving out. We'll be going for some kind of... I've never seen this before. Moving them across the map. What a player. Now Queen will move down. No spine on the way yet. Bunker will just go up. Bunker will just go up. Looking very rough right here for Elazer. As the bunker has gone up. And once that bunker is there, I mean, what can you really do? I mean, there's a couple of roaches on the way, which is nice. These Lings are forcing a couple of SCVs off the line. Does pull away his Lings in time. I like this micro a lot. Won't be able to get any SCVs though. SCV is very powerful, of course, with 45 health. INnoVation actually going to move up. That was a mistake. Gets met, walks up the ramp, gets hit in the face. First SCV dies in acid. Bunker's being crept on right now. Look at that. 3 roaches run by. Oh, Elazer, you sneaky bastard. Look at you. Oh, look at you, Elazer. Going for the base trade play. Still a couple of transfuses ready though, so might be able to just transfuse this hatchery. Go for the bunker. Snipes 1. Snipes 2 SCVs. Now, is the hatchery being targeted? No, hatchery not being targeted. There's still a single transfuse here. Elazer will be able to actually save his hatchery. It has some counter pressure on the way. Let's look at this wild goose chase. Couple of roaches on the map. I'm not sure if this is the best play though, as yikes. Does lose a couple of roaches. Now, is Elazer aware of the tech labs here? Does manage to scout one of the tech labs, so this will be a Marauder follow-up. Single Link still being annoying. 2 roaches trying to do some damage. We'll catch those 2 Marines most likely. At least one of the Marines will end up going down. Nope. Once again, roaches moving away. These 2 bullies just throwing sticks at a distance, and then when the friends of the Marine show up, he comes back with them. Oh, these two roaches really shouldn't die like this. That's a risky play. He now knows of 2 tech labs. Actually, he knows of all 3 tech labs, so he should be getting prepared right now. There's 3 queens. There is 2 transfuses ready. There's a bunch of roaches on the map. There's no link speed whatsoever though. And links against this with link speed would be fantastic, of course. Marauders do very poorly against links, but do fantastic against roaches who have that armor, are armored, and of course Marauders do extra damage to armored units. Same with the Spine Crawler. 1 transfuse starts on the hatchery. Now that is of course a safety measure. Does not want to get jumped on and then lose the hatchery for free. No extra drones being produced whatsoever. We just see pure unit production here by Elazer, who managed to get these two bad boys on the other side of the map. Now, here, this is the real story, right? Here, that Spine taking a lot of damage from those Marauders, trying to do some damage. Preferably would be tanking with the Queens. Question mark being sent by Elazer. As Elazer believes he's winning this fight rather easily. I'm not so sure about that, but he does seem to be winning. A lot of the roaches are going down, though there's still 3 Marauders left over. He needs to be a little bit careful with his BM. He needs to make sure that at first he wins before he starts bad-mouthing his opponent, or at least sending question marks. Or perhaps this was to copy the question mark that INnoVation did in game number 1 when he started losing. 6 Marauders are out here on the map against 7 Marines. Metallic Boost, also known as Link Speed, is about to finish up, and once that finishes, I believe this will be a lot harder for INnoVation. All SCVs being pulled right now. Does get spotted by this Overlord. 2 Ravagers on the way. The Crying Eyes in Korean being used here by INnoVation. Another Ravager being built. I'm not quite sure what the use of the Ravager. Perhaps to make your opponent lose some DPS in his army by making them move away from the biles. Perhaps even just hitting a bile is a real possibility here. And here come the boys. Boys moving in. Will target down the Spine as soon as possible. Good micro here coming out of INnoVation. Just kiting backwards. Bile not hitting anything. Of course, 11 SCVs have gone down already. 30 supply left over for INnoVation. And there's still 3 Queens. A lot of links just tanking so much of these Marauder shots. And now the Ravagers and the links will just be able to clean this up. And this will be a GG gets called. INnoVation wins game or loses game number 3, and Elazer is up 2-1 on match point. Alright, back with game number 3 between these two legends. Oh no, Elazer, what are you doing? What are you doing on match point? Only needs to win one more game as the drone does his little wiggly dance. Moves across the map for... Well, this has to be a proxy hatch, right? Seems to be the only way. This location seems interesting. Now, I say that because I understand you want to be building your hatchery as close to your opponent as possible, but I believe this creep will just show whenever any kind of scout will move across the map. So if Inno just sends out a Reaper or an SCV, and there's just a little bit of creep that will get spotted. Now that can't be the thought behind this build order, as the drone is working inside of all this plasma on the inside, creating this hatchery, which no doubt will be producing loads of aggressive units. Usually you don't build a hatchery on the other side of the map to start mining from this gas. Most of the time it indeed is used for either roaches, queens, combination of the two, preferably with links there as well. So let's see what will end up happening. With INnoVation moving across the map. Now of course hatchery not done yet, so won't be able to spot that creep, but I believe the Reaper might be able to. Second gas coming down for Elazer as well. Will be going into heavy roach production. Now you might be wondering, why does he get 2 gases if he's only mining with 2 from each gas? It's because the math behind it is that the first 2 drones will never have to wait at the extractor. So the first 2 drones are more efficient than the third drone in any extractor is. So ideally, you'd be mining 2-2 in gas before going 3 in one gas and then 1 in the other. Because I believe the first 2 drones account for something like 71 or 72% of the gas mining, and the third drone only adds 28%. So the first 2 drones are just more efficient. And thus it's probably worth it to do it like this if you need a higher gas count. Now, hatchery does get found out, bunker gets built on the high ground, and this is the kind of build where if you have the right response as being INnoVation, you're just going to be winning, right? This is not a... It is a technical build in that you need to know what to do and you need to go through the motions correctly, but the main part of this build is not technical, it's just theory, right? You need to know the theory on how to counter this. There's not going to be any fancy micro tricks here, it's just going to be, do I know what to build? Do I know when to build what? Do I know when to move out? Do I know when I have the edge on my units? And that's what's going to be important here for INnoVation. Does he have the knowledge on how to deal with this build? He is building a tech lab. This could be for a cyclone or a tank. 2 depots are falling, but that is par for the course, as there is no way to save those. I mean, cyclone isn't out yet. Depot is a little bit late. Could have anticipated that slightly better, but we'll be able to start his cyclone. And the play here for Elazer is to get enough piles that, or enough ravagers that he can pile down the bunker at once with 1 shot of all of his units as well. Now, this bunker is in a fantastic position. If the bunker was here, it would be way easier to pile down, of course. But because it's over here, this ramp and this general areas, it's difficult to hit everything at the same time. Elazer should be careful not getting too many hits on this ravagers. He's actually playing this rather sloppily. Should really not be receiving that much damage. Would love to see a second overlord here already as well, in case that first overlord dies. So not the great anticipation on things that might happen in the future. So that overlord will be moving back. Link speed starting. 6th ravager is on the way. I believe you need 7 biles to 1-shot a bunker. I could be wrong though. I'm actually not sure about that. Just need to be very careful. Oh, gets locked on by a cyclone. Yeah, he needs to be so careful with this overlord, because if this overlord dies, the whole push is dead. And that basically means that he's slightly too careful, I believe, here. Now we'll be trying to get a hit on that cyclone. Catches a little more damage on this ravager. There is now 7 ravagers. Oh, can't lose this overlord. Really can't lose this overlord. Trying to push it back, but I'm not quite sure what the Elazer is doing here. He needs to work quickly, because once this banshee is out, he's in a world of trouble. It seems like he kind of gave up on the plan of busting this bunker, but... I mean, you can just build 7 Ravagers on the other side of the map and not do anything with them. That's not how this game works, because eventually will arrive and be like, alright, good luck with the biles, my friend, but I'm gonna be killing 1 Ravager at a time here, and you're gonna have to deal with it. I think Elazer is starting to realize that, builds 2 more Ravagers, and starts walking up the ramp. Here we go, this will be the play. Hits the biles, but not all biles hit at the same time. I don't think this bunker will actually fall. Nah, a couple of shots need to be tanked on top of that bunker as well, but all the Ravagers are going down right now, and INnoVation just absolutely crushing this push. Holy crap, this wasn't close at all. Inno wins game number 4, and thus ties up the series. Alright, once again we're back with game number 5. The final game between these 2 absolute beasts. I see a hatchery first, no cheeses, no pool first, no roach rushes. Pure standard play here coming out of Elazer. On the other side of the map we see a barracks at home, which these days with INnoVation could be considered a bit of a surprise. Even though this series he's been a good boy. He's been doing a lot of barracks at home. Being the defensive player, of course, against Elazer, it's not that big of a surprise. Elazer known for being the cheesy guy, as I said at the start of this series. Here comes the spawning pool. Bunch of drones mining these beautiful minerals. Overlord scouting for any potential proxy barracks. Of course not heading straight across the map. Second Overlord staying at home for a little bit, making sure no SCVs can come up this ramp without him knowing. What a beautiful creature. Spikes on the back. This is what peak evolution looks like. So we have that SCV coming across the map here, out of INnoVation. And we'll spot the first hatch first in the main base. Of course we've seen a hatch first on the last map. But that was on the other side of the map, so I don't think that quite counts as a standard macro opener. Now, we're going to be seeing most likely an eBay block here. It's a very common thing to see nowadays. Now you could say, why doesn't Elazer just take this base then? Because this gold could be a little bit tricky to defend behind these minerals. Imagine if INnoVation decides to mine away these minerals with 2 SCVs, then Hellions behind the gold might be difficult. We're actually not going to see an eBay block here. Instead, SCV heads back home after seeing the complete lack of an eBay, or the complete lack of a drone at the 3rd base. And Elazer will... Ooh, he's gonna put down a... This is a very risky tumor. This is very far forward, but of course with the ramp makes it a little easier. Moves forward with the queens, and we have a triple CC build coming out of INnoVation here. Oi, oi, oi. Before Hellions, this is one of the greedy builds, or the greedy, very economical builds, for sure. Now that's very doable on a map like this, of course, where there is a ramp leading up to your natural. So not too surprised by this. Follow-up will be a starport. 2 Hellions will start, and 3rd gas goes down on the natural. Yeah, this is the INnoVation standard. This could be either 4 or 6 Hellion into bio. INnoVation loves this build to death. He plays it so much. Oh, Reaper might actually fall before getting any useful information. Sees a 3rd queen dies. Ideally wanted to scout this, because he isn't sure if there's a lair on the way or not. Of course, this 3rd base was extremely delayed, and INnoVation has got to be wondering, where did all that money go that could have been invested into a 3rd base? Oh wow, he's floating the barracks. The spot for the Overlord that is not there, as Elazer has his Overlord position in this area. As a response, INnoVation will be getting a Viking. That's an interesting play. That is an interesting play. Still a tech lab here, I guess. Then we'll be going into 2 extra barracks, most likely behind this, into the double eBay. It's the most standard of builds. Elazer not quite sure what's happening, throws down a safety baneling nest, gets a couple of extra queens, as he's not aware that there's a 3rd CC here. Could still be some kind of hellbat push. All he's seen so far is that there are Hellions, which that's about the worst tell in the world, because almost every build, except the 2-1-1, includes Hellions. Now we do have a Viking floating around the map, trying to find some Overlords, but missing the one close to his base. Instead we'll be going on a journey to the other side of the world to find Well, to try and find an overlord. This guy's gonna be flying for a while. Hope he doesn't run out of fuel. He's burning quite a bit there. Can be good for the environment. How many Hellions do we have? We have 8 Hellions, so a lot higher than I initially expected. We have the 2 extra barracks only being added now because of those 2 extra Hellions, and then most likely will be followed up with at least 1 eBay, but wouldn't be surprised to see a second eBay come down as well. There's 3 banelings on the way, and Elazer is preparing for a Hellbat push, right? This is classic Hellbat territory. Queen's moving to the front will be able to deal with those Hellions, I hope. Drones immediately being pulled, and InnoVation decides not to dive into it. This Spore is in the main base. Should be able to deal with this Liberator that gets spotted by this Overlord. Queen's moving into position. Spore should unburrow immediately, so it can start positioning itself under this Liberator. Is there Spore in the natural? There is. Should unburrow as well. You want to already have it unburrowed, so you can start moving straight where the Liberator starts sieging. Now you still need to unburrow it. Takes another second or so. So a little bit of a mistake there coming out of Elazer, as he gets a couple of hits off on this Liberator and should unburrow this once again. Now there is Queens at the 3rd base. No, they're pushing away the Hellions from its creep. Good drone pull by Elazer. Hasn't lost a single drone to this yet. Very good mechanical skill here coming out of him. Drones are safe where the Lynx and the Banes are. Liberator falls. This is a dream defense here for Elazer. Who says, alright, you wanna get a Liberator, that's fine. I will just micro everything so well you're not gonna get any kills. You see InnoVation moving forward with that gold base. Sometimes you see Terrans play the bottom side of the map, and then you get these really weird scenarios, but not this time around. We're just seeing a full focus on the top side of this map for both players. So another scan wouldn't hurt here to clear some of that creep. Problem, of course, with the Hellions is you can't really defend the creep you just cleared, as Queens can just go back in and put down a tumor. So that's exactly what Elazer will be doing here. Centrifugal hooks just completed. 1-1 is on the way. Burrow has started as well as a Spire. So we're going to be seeing Ling Bane Muta. Or Corruptor Bane Muta. Corruptor Ling Bane. Hasn't really been a thing for a while anymore though. We've seen it in the past a fair amount, but lately it's just been Ling Bane Muta. 2 drops are heading out. Get spotted by Elazer. Run by is being set up now. There is still Hellions on the map, so this run by should not be able to do anything. As I say, that gets the first tank immediately. Not quite the start we want, being Elazer. Losing all of those links for a tank is nice, but Hellions are still alive as well. We'll be able to deal with this. 1-1 finishes up. Combat shield about to finish up as well. As we see the battle for the 4th base. Now this 4th base is tucked away very far in that top right corner. InnoVation obliges and says, alright, here we go. Oh, I'll come and find you on your terrain. Won't quite happen as there's too many Banes with centrifugal hooks already. Can't really be fighting those bad boys. Is there high ground vision with this Overlord? There will be. Queens will be able to target down this medevac. InnoVation wasn't quite expecting that. Catches a lot of damage. Straight away on that first medevac. Second army is moving out. In combination with the Hellbats. A single SCV here for God knows what he's gonna do. Might spray down a couple of sprays. InnoVation does need to be careful moving on to creep though, as there is centrifugal hooks already. There's decent upgrades for Elazer with 1-1. New creep will be rebuilt with the Queens. This army might get called out by these Banelings. Will get called out, so free real estate here for Elazer. Ends up getting a fair amount of Marines there for basically an optimal trade, right? You still end up losing a couple of Lynx, a couple of Banes, but it's a lot better than having that in combination with tanks. And medevacs being able to pick up Marines like it usually is. Now this push looks very scary already. Elazer really hasn't been able to put too much pressure on. SCV gets sent semi-home. A lot of SCV still idling here as well. InnoVation decides, alright, it's not worth yet to push further onto creep. Gonna have to deal with this Mutas. Might actually be able to get a weird Marine flank on these Mutas. Elazer not microing this too hot, honestly. We'll need to be careful as we see InnoVation moving towards the top side of the map, perhaps trying to go get a siege on this base. With these rocks, perhaps a low ground position can be achieved. You have Elazer keeping everything at home for now, no counterattacks. Couple of tanks in the middle of the map. Of course, this map relatively easy to control for InnoVation, who with only really 1 unit over here and then keeping the center, has full map vision of the the walking path, basically. So whenever a run by is being sent out, he will be able to spot it immediately and thus catch it. So the only real way to do a counterattack this game around will be with the Muras, and INnoVation is prepared for that. Has a turret in this base, has probably a couple of turrets in that main base as well, and as there's only 12 Muras, the Muras aren't really going to be too much of a nuisance here. So at this point, INnoVation really knowing absolutely everything that is happening on this map when it comes to ground forces. Now Hive is on the way, Elazer is stacking up, he's looking forward to a bigger bane count, bigger upgrades as well. As 2-2 is about to finish, he will need to start 3-3 as soon as possible. We see Thor's on the way, drilling claws probably is done already. Yes, where's that, the second factory over here with that reactor. So this is a very standard play. This has been playing out the same way since HOTS, where you see those drilling claws, you see the Thors being produced from the factory tech lab, or the tech lab factory, and then mines from the factory with the reactor on it. Now here comes the first real run by that might be successful, cutting off some reinforcements. There is a big engagement happening here, coming from two sides. Elazer is, three sides, with one side collapses onto the army on the top. I'm not quite sure about this engagement. Elazer, a lot of that was off creep. Now all the tanks have been killed, so a big reset on the tank count. There's almost no splash whatsoever. 2 mines coming in now. There's 1 Thor here. But the Bane count also has been reset, so relatively even trade. If Elazer managed to get some of this creep back in the middle, which he so desperately needs. This creep over here is very nice. Will allow him to set up run-bys more so than everything, because controlling this part of the map is going to be more difficult for INnoVation now. So where before he was in a good spot with full map control, now it's going to be harder. We'll be using a drilling claws mine for that, but of course he should be able to clear that up with this overseer. INnoVation hasn't been sitting still though. He's been continuing to build command center, so trying to improve his economical position, even if the trades aren't going as hot as he wants to. He's still trading evenly, so that's fine. Is better up in economy. Units lost, Elazer is down as well, so INnoVation definitely looking rather hot this game. S33 is about to finish up. I'm starting to fear a little bit for Elazer's defense in the next push. How's he going to be able to defend that, you might ask? I don't know. I don't know if he will be able to defend that. This creep is pushing forward, of course, so INnoVation will need to deal with that, but 3-3 is only starting now for Elazer. That's what, a 50, 60, 70 second window here for INnoVation, where he might just be able to move across the map and kind of kill him. INnoVation already trying to set up before his 3-3 finishes. Now, there is some risk involved in that, because if Elazer decides to fight before 3-3 finishes, all of a sudden it's still a 2-2 versus 2-2 fight, and that's not quite what INnoVation wants, of course. As the infantry weapons finish up though, Elazer realizes he can't really defend this place. This position is too hard to hold for now. INnoVation just moving completely on creep. There's no flank from the bottom side being set up yet. Elazer not quite sure how to approach this fight. As you see drones moving down to this bottom side. We see a Mura flyby happening towards this base. There is a single turret there and the Mura count just isn't high enough. It's gonna take 3-4 volleys to kill this turret, so unless INnoVation fell asleep on his keyboard, he's going to be able to deal with that. Yeah, Elazer won't even try, as this fifth base, this rebuilt fifth base, is now once again under attack. Elazer just engaging from one side. There is no tanks with this army. Mines in the back make it very difficult to start any kind of flank. A lot of marauders in this army as well, as Elazer marches forward and he gets a trade, but the problem is the trade isn't really that cost efficient. We see him falling further behind in unit lost right now. Or resources lost, I must say. So he does have this gold base. Yeah, some nice economy set up here, but if this base falls, what is Elazer going to be doing? Ultralisks are on the way, links are being rallied forward, mines actually friendly firing a bunch, but there's just not enough larva to push this back. There's not enough units. There's 8 links, 2 queens right now on the map. There's still 20 marines and 10 marauders. I think this might be it. Once this base falls, the income of Elazer will be severely crippled. GG, well played, gets called, and INnoVation wins game number 5 as well. Now, if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Leave a like. Smash the like button. Don't just leave it. Smash it. Leave a comment down below. Thank you all for watching and see you all in the next video.